Oh, I know that sound. It's time for the Beer and News Report.
What you are about to watch is not real. Nothing Art says is true, including his friends. Art has no friends. This show is from the dark, warped recesses of his subconscious mind and is not to be taken as fact. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hi, and welcome to the Beer and News Report. Cheers. Thank you for all your comments, and I get it. The last show was too long, so this show will be 15 minutes or less. I hear you loud and clear. So without further ado, let's start the show. There are 3 top conspiracy theories that my friends and I came up with on a night of drinking and eating cannabis. Actually, we came up with 6, but I don't have time to go through all of them. So in descending order, here they are. 3, the cannabis conspiracy theory. 2, the abortion conspiracy theory. And 1, the coronavirus conspiracy theory. Of course, we got to have that one. Okay, number 3, the cannabis conspiracy theory. Cannabis, or as it's known on the street as pot or marijuana, it's been legalized not only for medicinal purposes, but also for recreational use in almost all the states. It's still illegal, though, under the federal law, and for some reason, they turn a blind eye. Why is that? Well, what are some of the side effects of smoking pot? It makes you lethargic, you lose energy. It makes you paranoid, hungry, and you laugh at anything. So think about it. Right now, after you smoked a couple of joints with your friends in the living room and you're sitting back and just kind of staring out the window, your friend turns to you and says, "Hey, what are you looking at?" And you point and go, "Those are drapes. Drapes." And your friend has an epiphany. He goes, "Hey, what if they were purple?" And you say, "They would be grape drapes. Grape drapes. Grape drapes." And for the next hour, you're on the floor laughing. Been there, done that, right? Now, currently, who uses pot the most? Well, it's the younger generation. For the most part, baby boomers have had that phase in the 60s and they've kind of worn out of it. But millennials are the big users now. And millennials, they want to change the status quo. They want to have the government more liberal. And how did the government stop them? Well, by letting them smoke pot. Imagine seeing on voting day where a bunch of millennials have either smoked or eaten cannabis, and one friend turns to you and goes, "Hey, aren't we supposed to smoke? Aren't we supposed to vote today?" And you're like, "Yeah, let me just finish this joint." And your friend goes, "Cool, cool. Hey, can we get something to eat? I'm kind of hungry." And you're like, "Yeah, me too. Let's order a pizza." And so it takes like an hour to order pizza, and then it takes another hour for the pizza to get there, but only 15 minutes to eat it. But then for the next hour, you're laughing at the drapes again. Next thing you know, everyone's passed out on the couch and no one votes. And that is how the government keeps the status quo. I mean, think about it. Is Biden really that much different from Trump? When Trump came into office, he put in a tax cut and he tried to end Obamacare. When Biden gets into office, he's going to get rid of the Trump tax cut and keep Obamacare. So in actual terms of change, nothing's going to happen. Neither one are going to do much. But millennials, they like Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders wants to have a revolution. Both Democrats and Republicans are scared of that. I mean, look at what AOC, the representative from New York, look at what she's doing. No way do we want someone like her in office as president. So we let them smoke pot, and the baby boomers get to vote in the president, and the government's satisfied. Hey, don't look so shocked, because it gets worse from here. Cheers. Now, which one of you are pro-lifers? Or pro-choice, I should say. Pro-life or pro-choice, which one? Did you know that there's a solution that the government swept under the rug? Yeah, you could stop a pregnancy and not have an abortion. But why would the government want to prevent a solution like that makes everyone happy? Well, let's think about this. Over 600,000 abortions happen in the US every year. And that's down from a peak in 1999 of 1.4 million. Since 1973, when Roe versus Wade was passed by the Supreme Court, abortions have been legal, but Two groups have been arguing about the legality of this case ever since. The pro-lifers who want to stop abortions and the pro-choice who feel it's their right to choose. I'm not going to tell you who's right or wrong because that's not the conspiracy. The conspiracy is that a Silicon Valley firm developed an artificial womb where a pregnant mom, instead of having an abortion, could have the fetus removed and put into this artificial womb. It solved the problem for both groups. There was no abortion for pro-lifers, and the pro-choice get to end the pregnancy. So what happened? Well, when this firm applied for a patent and asked for the FDA's approval, the government sounded the alarm. Why? Because now they would have to care for 600,000 new babies every year. Not only that, but maintain carrying them until they turn to an adult, 18 years. I mean, you think it's bad when you have twins. Imagine 600,000. I got to drink to that. Now, sure, some of the babies would get adopted and some would go to foster care homes, but no way would that be 600,000. Maybe if you're lucky, you can get rid of 100,000 babies. And that's still leaving the government over 500,000 to take care of. Now, the better answer is just erase this company and the product from the face of the earth and not have to worry about this problem at all. Isn't it enough that we have Social Security and Medicare? Now they have to take care of 600,000 babies? No, the government made sure that the founders swore to secrecy, that the company was dissolved, and the internet was scoured to remove anything that related to this device, even though this device would solve the abortion problem and end the fight between pro-lifers and pro-choicers. The government just couldn't handle the solution. But on a side note, the Pentagon and most of the intelligence agencies were for this company. They wanted the baby so they could build a secret army, do genetic sequencing and try to pick out the top 10%, not even 10%, like the top 10,000. They would be born and raised by the military, for the military, and of the military. Perfectly raised from birth to adult to serve their daddy, the Pentagon, and their mama, the CIA or the NSA. Didn't see that one coming, did you? Well, here comes the real shocker. Better take a drink. Okay, the number one conspiracy theory is the coronavirus conspiracy theory. Now look, this one is a big one. Seriously, if you don't have a drink, stop the video and go get one because I'm going to blow your mind. You need something to take the edge off. All right, are you all set? Okay, let's go. Now the coronavirus is all over the world, but it's hitting the U.S. the hardest. And the U.S. blames China, saying that they developed in a biolab in Wuhan province where it got out. But China is blaming the U.S., saying, hey, your military secretly let out the virus on the Chinese people. So who's right? Actually, it's both of them. The coronavirus was developed in a Chinese biolab, but with the help of the American military. Yeah, that's right. China and America work together on this. What the fuck? Just stop, take a breath. Let's have a drink. I warned you, there's going to be a tough one. So, the Chinese were told to let it out into Wuhan to test its effectiveness. And that's why they had to kill that Chinese doctor who really early on warned that this is a potential pandemic. It was too early to tell if it was effective or not. So they had to shut him down. But once the pandemic got out and it was proved that it was effective, then the Chinese government went into hardcore stop mode. I mean, they pulled out the military, they shut down everything in that city. No one gets in or out. They even had SWAT teams patrolling the streets to capture anyone who tried to get in or out. They knew what was going to happen. They knew that this spreads easier, real easy, and it's deadlier than a normal flu. So they did a brutal lockdown, and they didn't let anyone get in or out, so they couldn't infect any of the other provinces. But they made sure that it got to the U.S. because our government wanted it. Now, why would our government want this pandemic? Well, who does it attack? It attacks everyone, but mainly the elderly and those with a weakened immune system. Well, it attacks everyone, but it kills mainly the elderly and those with weakened immune systems. And what kind of health care or health insurance are these people on? Usually, or most likely, it's Medicare. Now, the federal government has been trying to cut Medicare and Social Security for years. Usually, they do it by raising the age of eligibility. But if you remember back when Trump was elected, Senator Paul Ryan put in this budget that made cuts to Social Security and Medicare. Excuse me, but it was defeated in Congress. So if you can't vote the desired changes, in, what other choices do you have? Well, what if you could develop a virus that kills people on Social Security or Medicare? What if the virus can specifically target older people and people with weakened immune systems? Enter the coronavirus. Oh, yeah. And you thought the government's only way of screwing you was through taxes. No. All right. So what's the goal? Let's say you wanted to reduce the number of people on Social Security by 1 million. The coronavirus has a mortality rate of 2%. In order to get to 1 million, you got to get 50 million people infected. But we're only at, roughly 1 million. That's because of the state governors. You see, they weren't in on the secret. They didn't know that what the feds were up to, and they reacted too quickly. They put shelter in place and social distancing policies in place, and they actually worked. They're doing pretty good. The numbers are coming down. So that's now why the federal government is saying, hey, we got to open up America and put America back to work, because they got to get those infection numbers up. If we drop social distancing and shelter at home, there'll be a resurgence of infections, and we'll hit that magic number of 50 million people infected. Yeah, so people, let's go out and play. Cheers. Actually, if we can overwhelm the hospitals, we might get the mortality rate up to 4%, which would mean they would kill 2 million people. That's better than we anticipated. Now think about it. Removing 2 million people from Social Security and Medicare would be just as good as making budget cuts to those services. One way or another, the federal government is going to get their cuts. So cheers to being hardcore, federal government. Well, as you can see, I'm almost at the end of my beer, which means we're at the end of the show. So please remember, what I talked about today is just some theories that a bunch of drunk guys came up with and not real facts. We were just having fun. I hope you like the show. And if you really like it, I can do another one with those other 3 conspiracy theories that we came up with. But I'm just going to warn you, they're even worse than the ones I talked about. Also, if you want to subscribe, there's a button right below. You just hit that subscribe button, and YouTube will tell you when a new show pops up. And as always, keep your beer cold and your interests hot. Cheers.